Hello, everyone. My name, once again, is Scott X. Esdale. I am the state president of the NAACP. I'm also a national board member of the NAACP and the criminal justice chair. And this particular incident falls under this umbrella of police brutality, police misconduct. And we've been working diligently of supporting the Cox family and supporting justice for Randy Cox. We have a dynamic attorney that's been working tirelessly on this particular issue, Attorney Ben Crump, and he's put together a team of great attorneys that have been helping and assisting us with this particular initiative. And what we're going to do now is bring out, up to the microphone, Attorney Ben Crump. He is the Attorney General for the black community all across this nation. He's been fighting vigorously for justice, and we are so glad that he's here to help us with the Randy Cox issue and also supporting the Randy Cox family. So we'll bring up now Attorney Ben Crump.
Thank you, President Scott Isdale with the NAACP. Latoya, you all can come up. Again, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, and along with Attorney Lou Rambano, Attorney Mike Jefferson, Attorney R.J. Weber, Attorney Jack O'Donnell, Attorney Chris O'Neill, we have the honor of representing Randy Cox and his family. We have present with us his sister LaQuavius, his sister Latoya, and his mother, Miss Doreen. And again, they are here with a heavy heart today because they are responding to the recent developments in the ongoing saga for justice for Randy Cox. And it is becoming a saga because we say one thing here and then we find out other things later. And the family is becoming increasingly frustrated with the lack of accountability all around while Randy lays in a bed struggling to do the most basic things in life, like use the bathroom, try to scratch an itch, try to make sure that he doesn't get a bed sore, make sure that he doesn't get infected with germs since his immune system has been severely compromised since Juneteenth. So first, let's address the criminal charges, or as Latoya said, the lack of criminal charges that were issued to these police officers that were responsible for Randy Cox being a quadriplegic. When you think about it, it's not really fair. It's not really fair that they are getting a slap on the wrist, misdemeanor charges, where they will at most see 6 months in jail. I know Attorney Jack O'Donnell, who is our criminal expert here, doubt they will see any jail time. And so they got a misdemeanor slap on the wrist where they'll probably see little to no jail time, and Randy Cox has a life sentence. How's that fair? When Randy Cox didn't do anything to cause this. And I challenge anybody to look at that video and say what Randy Cox did to cause this. Anybody from the regular citizen here in New Haven all the way to the top leadership, what did Randy Cox do to cause any of this? Look at the video. Don't take Ben Crump's word for it. Don't take Scott X, none of our word for it. Look at it with your own eyes. And you ask yourself, what did Randy Cox do? And you juxtapose that with what these police officers did. You think about if they were regular citizens and you had a driver, and the police know because they charge people all the time, and the state attorney charge people all the time. If you had somebody driving recklessly and they cause someone to be paralyzed, they would be charged with assault with a vehicle, right, Jack? And that's a felony. And if you look at what these officers did when they got to that police station, if somebody yanks him out of that paddy wagon and throws him into that wheelchair, causes him paralysis, they will be charged with assault in the first degree. Again, a felony. And if a person who's a regular citizen, somebody is thrown to the ground, put in handcuffs and dragged, that causes them to be paralyzed, that would be assault in the first degree, would be a felony. So if it were you or I, we would be looking at felony charges. And more likely, Scott X, we would be looking at felony convictions. But these police officers aren't looking at any of that. They're looking at misdemeanors, slap on the wrist. And I understand from Attorney R.J. Weber that they can come and ask for a petition for acceleration of rehabilitation. Is that Attorney Jefferson? Accelerated rehabilitation, which could allow them to have the charges dismissed, as if it never happened at all, as if this didn't happen to Randy Cox. That's what they are facing. That, after looking at this video, that is what the prosecutor said is the most harsh, stiffest penalty we can give these officers that everybody has said. The mayor, the police chief, every citizen has said they were wrong and they need to be held accountable. Well, and you're going to hear from LaToya Boomer, the sister.
Boomer.
LaToya Boomer, the sister, and she's going to express to you how she feels about these charges or lack thereof. And think about this. All of them are charged with misdemeanors. You all remember what Randy Cox was charged with? He was charged with a felony. Now, thanks to Attorney O'Donnell, the charges have been dropped, but he was charged with a felony, Scott. And the officers who caused him to be paralyzed, likely for the rest of his life, are charged with a misdemeanor. How is that fair? How is that fair? The other issue we have to deal with, since we were together, is the fact that we had responsive pleadings to our civil lawsuit. And it's astonishing to us and the family, the responses that we saw from the city and the officers. Absolutely astonishing. Unbelievable. Because the city has said they're going to take accountability for what happened. And they have told all of us this in the public, that to you in the media. But we were just shocked when the press reported that the answers to the lawsuit of Randy Cox was that they said that Randy was responsible for his own injuries. that he was comparatively negligent, and that the officers said they never did anything wrong. But the city, the leadership, your lawyers, Mr. Mayor, they said that Randy was responsible for his own injuries.
That's right.
Now, I know you all don't believe that. I know you all didn't lie to the people when you said it was wrong and that this will be addressed and there will be accountability. Why let them make all of us doubt your word, Mr. Mayor, with these pleadings? Because that's what they have done when it comes to Miss Doreen and LaToya and LaQuavia looking you in your face. You said that the city was going to do right and they were going to take accountability. And then we get these responses, and RJ and Lou, they say Randy was negligent and careless. Am I reading it correctly? Attorney Jefferson, they said that Randy interfered with the investigation. I mean, what video are they looking at? I mean, you have a man who's handcuffed, unrestrained, in the back of a paddy wagon, who uncontrollably, once the officer slams on the brakes, violently hits the back wall of the van and breaks his neck. And from that point, Randy doesn't have any control. He told him he had a broken neck. Randy doesn't have any control. So how's he interfering with anything? How's he at fault with anything? Come on, man, we have to be able to trust you all that you all are going to do right by Randy. We got to be able to trust you all. Your word has to count, not just to the family, but to the people. It has to count for something. Randy Cox is laying in a bed looking at this press conference saying, what are they going to tell me next? You know, a lot of times we try our best to be zealous advocates. We don't want to be offensive. We try to be respectful. But we hope that you understand our frustration. I mean, it's one thing to say it to the public, but it's another thing to say it to Miss Doreen, who every day goes to that hospital and tries to tell them that the whole community is with you, Randy. It's one thing to look at her in her eye and tell her. So your words can't ring hollow. It just can't. We know that you're going to say certain things as a responsible leader, and I hope you will disavow any notion that Randy caused his injuries. I hope you would do that today to save face with people who saw that video. We have to deal with the issue of Randy getting quality health care in the immediate. And this family doesn't want your charity. All they want is equal justice. They want accountability. What they want is, if this was your son, do what you would do for him. These proud black women don't want your charity. That's not what they want. They want everything that any citizen in America would be entitled to. Every constitutional right. They have a right to the 7th Amendment as well. Don't nickel and dime them. Treat them like you would treat your own children this Christmas. And I don't have to tell y'all, it's gonna get cold. And we don't need Mr. Doreen struggling to get to and from the hospital. We don't need Randy being on city transportation. We don't need him getting a nickel and dime rehabilitation. He needs real rehabilitation to have a chance at quality of life. You've taken so much from him already. Don't continue to injure him with your hollow words. Let's have real leadership. Let's have real action. Let's have real leadership. What else do I need to hear? All right, I'm gonna have Attorney R.J. Weber come and talk to you about the criminal charges before you hear from Randy's family, and we'll take your questions. And Attorney Michael Jefferson.
So we spoke briefly yesterday concerning the charges, and one of the things that I want everyone to know is that myself, someone from my office, Attorney Jefferson, family members, and we would ask members of the public to come out on each court date when these officers are due to appear in court. We want the court to know, the prosecutors and the judge to know, that we want these officers to be held accountable for what occurred here. And one of the things we do not want is something called accelerated rehabilitation to be granted, which could and would result in a dismissal of these charges if the program were applied for, granted, and successfully completed. One of the conditions of that program is that the charge is not of a serious nature. And I would put it to anyone listening to this to come to the conclusion that what happened to Randy Cox was not a crime of a serious nature. And that in and of itself would eliminate the opportunity for this program and eliminate the opportunity for these officers to have these charges ultimately dismissed.
It's a two-pronged test is what
Talking to the mic.
Attorney Weber is talking about, and one of the prongs is just what he discussed, and the other is that the defendant is not likely to commit a crime or an offense in the future. The ultimate decision in these types of situations is that the judge will make the final call, and it's important that we let the court know that, and before I say that, I have to say this, that the family must be notified if this application is made to the court. That's very important that you understand that the family will have a say if, in fact, these defendants do apply for this program. It's called AR, Accelerated Rehabilitation.
And we will have a voice and be in contact because Randy is the victim of these crimes. And we will have a voice and be in contact with the state's attorney throughout the process. And we will make sure that Randy's voice as a victim is heard. And again, I urge anyone who has an interest in this to appear. The court dates are a public record. The charges and the court dates appear on the Connecticut Judicial website. And I urge anyone who has an interest in this to appear on each and every date when these defendants appear in court before the judge. Thank you.
Thank you, RJ. Scott, when is it? The 8th?
December 8th.
You want
December 8th.
to announce that the NAACP don't have a...
Yeah, just to reiterate that the NAACP will mobilize and organize individuals from across the state and across the nation to come to court and let their voices be heard when these individuals are arraigned in court.
And before LaToya comes and address you, you know, some people ask, why do we keep coming out here doing this? It's because Randy life matters. You know, to some people, Randy's just the latest hashtag. He's a political football. You know, he's a lawsuit. But to Miss Doreen, this is her child. I mean, I just have to, Miss Doreen, I want them to see you because they need to see it's real. Yeah, imagine going into the Christmas holiday unlike a Christmas you've ever experienced. Praying for a true Christmas miracle. For your child to just return to how he was before Juneteenth. I mean, sometimes we forget in all the political folly and all the legal jousting that this is a real person. And too many times, black people are just discounted as irrelevant. It's not that important of an issue. And even though we say it's important, the actions don't mean it. I mean, how many times is Randy gonna get re-injured? He got re-injured by the criminal justice system, you know, given these misdemeanor charges for such a serious injury. He get re-injured by the city pleadings in the civil lawsuit saying that he caused his own injuries. I mean, at what point do we quit re-injuring Randy? At what point do we keep saying black lives don't matter? At what point do we take it real? I mean, this is real. You can say what you want to say about any of us, but you cannot deny that Miss Doreen is heartbroken and her son is paralyzed. And why is that? Because it's from a system that don't value black people. And that's why the black community is continuing to challenge the city leadership to show us that you value us. Show us that you're gonna treat us like you treat others in the community. And, you know, a lot of times you follow the spirit and the tenor of your clients, and every time I talk to LaToya, she has been very consistent with what they are trying to achieve. She has not wavered. So with these latest charges, it was obviously a slap in her face. So I'm gonna let her speak directly to you all and to the power of this city. And I'm not gonna hold her back. You say whatever you wanna say, LaToya.
Hi, my name is LaToya Boomer. And yes, these charges were a slap in the face. It really was. 2 misdemeanors. If this was me and my kids were at home and one of them got hurt and I didn't even have nothing to do with it and they broke their neck and I didn't take them to the hospital, I would be arrested on the spot. My other kid would be taken away and put into DCF system. No questions asked. I would have to beg and plead to get my other kid back. I would lose my job. I'm a federal employee and I'm in the military. I would be out of 2 jobs. So then I'd lose my house, all that. So how is this fair? So I'm gonna read from, I asked Randy what he wanted me to say. So he said, he's glad to see the system working. He said, I know it's only an arrest, but it's a start. Okay, it's a nice start to getting justice.
Hold on for a second.
So,
Start from the beginning.
okay. So I'll start over. He said, he's glad to see the system working. Said, I know it's only an arrest, but it's a start. It's a nice start to getting justice. It's time for a change. this ain't about me, it's about the people that come after me. So no one else has to go through this. He says, I have faith that all things will work out. I just have to trust the process and wait and see. So I guess we'll be waiting to see, because we're still waiting for them to be fired. I know it's a process, but I'm gladly waiting. Yeah. So we still need prayers for Randy. Hopefully he can gain more strength. So
How hard has this been on your mother?
it's been hard on all of us. It's been hard on my mother. She goes there every day to sit with him. She goes, she brings him food, feeds him. It's been hard on me too. Sometimes I go before I go to work, because I still have to go to work to make a living. I go on my days off, and I pretty much spend the whole day there visiting him. Even just looking at him and knowing that he was able to walk and feed himself and use his phone, the basic things that everybody else does, he was able to do for himself, and now he can't. So I actually feel obligated to go there to make sure that he's receiving the proper care, or to give him a sip of water, because he has to ring a call bell to ask for a sip of water. The cup is sitting right next to him, but he can't pick it up. So, like they said, we're not asking for charity. We're asking for justice, and whatever the lawyers do, that's their stuff. So the money stuff is between them, but we're not begging for the city's charity. We want whatever is supposed to be done, that y'all said that y'all were going to do, to just be done. That's it.
Let me ask you this, Latoya, and publicly. Do you think Randy believed the mayor and the police chief when they said they're going to do right by him?
Yes, I do believe he believes that.
And
They told him that to his face when they went and visited him in the hospital. So we'll see.
Thank you, Latoya.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Latoya. Finally, you're going to hear from Ms. Doreen, Randy Cox's mother, and then we'll try to take some of your questions.
Hello, my name is Doreen Coleman. Yes, I am Randy's mom. Yes, I do go every day. I catch the city bus from one side of town to the other. It takes about an hour. Even if I stop to get him food, that's another 30 minutes. But I sit there all day. Even though the nurses come in and do what they have to do to him, I still sit there with him. He needs somebody to help him get something to drink. He needs somebody to help him get some food to eat. The nurses will come if nobody else is there. They will help feed him, but it's not like family. It's not like friends. It's not like somebody that you hung around with or grew up with. They'll come sit. They'll come do this or that with you, but then we have to leave. So what happens after that? The nurses get busy. It takes them long enough to do one patient, then they have to go to another patient, and you're still sitting there, and it might take a whole hour and a half for them to get back to you. That is not the life that Randy wants. Randy wants to get outside. He wants to be able to go to the store. I'm waiting for him to go to the store, because he always saying, Ma, you need something for the store, you ain't got to go outside, I'll go for you. I need y'all to keep praying, keep being positive. Let Randy know that everybody and anybody is thinking about him, do want him to have good spirits, do want him to keep going, doing the progress that he is doing. Cheer him on. Let him know it will get better, it should get better, but if not, at least let him know that you want him to get better. Everybody that's praying, keep praying, because he hears those prayers and so do the Lord upstairs.
Amen.
You don't pray for him, the Lord don't hear it. Even if you just got to say it out loud while you're walking by, thank you, Jesus. Please, I'm praying for Randy. I'm praying for his family. The Lord heard you if nobody else didn't hear you.
Amen.
Then when you say it, somebody else will say it. I just want y'all to keep being positive for Randy. Pray for him. Send him cards. Send him letters. You can send them to me. You can send them to my daughters. We will read them to him, or he can read them himself. But we'll read them anyway. He'll read it first, and then we'll go back and read it again. Just so he can understand how we feel, how the people out here feel, and whoever else. Just keep praying for him. Keep giving us the strength to keep going. And yes, I will be going to see him when I leave.
Thank you, Miss Doreen, and we'll keep praying for Randy. We are going to have our Lou Rubano come and talk about what Randy's needs are, because Latoya said what he needs, we don't really know. We lean on our lawyers. So, Lou, if you would talk about what Randy's needs are going into this holiday season and for the rest of his life.
So one of the issues that when Randy was at Gaylord Rehabilitation in Wallingford, which is one of the top rehabilitation centers in the United States, he was only allowed to stay there for a certain period of time. And one of the reasons why was, one, funding. His family couldn't afford to keep him there. But the other is that when a person doesn't make the gains that they hope that a person will make, they can't stay there anymore. It's a top rehabilitation center, and when Randy found out from the doctors, and when the rehabilitation center found out that Randy would never walk again, they discharged him, and he went to a place called Apple Rehab in West Haven. The problem with Apple Rehab in West Haven is that Randy is the only paralyzed person there. They don't have the means to take care of someone that needs 24-hour care. And as I mentioned last time I was here, we're talking about turning him every 3 hours, 8 times a day. We're talking about dealing with he's developed significant gastrointestinal issues that require around-the-clock nursing care, feeding him, grooming him, bathing him. So one of the things that the family is struggling with is that, how do we get Randy to a better place? How do we get him the care that he deserves? If this case takes, if the city officials don't do what they promised the family, this case is going to be around another couple of years. And that means that Randy's condition is going to decline over the next couple of years, when he should be getting the best care possible to take care of those needs that he's going to need for the rest of his life. So we pray that the city officials are going to do the right thing and take care of Randy. And what that means is getting him out of that facility and getting him into a facility that's going to provide him 24-hour care. Doreen is there. I'm there a couple of times a week to see Randy. My partner is as well. Doreen's there every day, and the family is doing everything they possibly can on their own to help assist these qualified people to care for Randy, but that's not enough, unfortunately. Thank you.
Ms. Doreen, you said what they don't have?
They don't have enough equipment. They don't have none of the equipment that he needs. They don't have any of the equipment that Randy needs. Gaylord has the machine thing that lets him.
I can't hear. What are you saying? Is that mic working?
Just keep going. Just keep going. Okay. Keep going.
Can you say something?
Stop being rude. Stop being rude.
Just stay close. Stay close.
They don't have the equipment that Randy needs. They have a machine that helps him stand up. They have a wheelchair that helps him lean back when he gets pains, because he's still in pain. They have other things going on that doesn't matter with Randy. They do other stuff for other patients, but Randy's not the patient that, they need the 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
There's a patient that can walk by himself, but they use the machine to help him. Randy's not to that stage yet. They have the other patients that are able to feed themselves, But Randy doesn't have the assistance for that yet. They're working on all of that, but we need the help, we need the assistance, we need the stuff to help Randy.
Thank you, Ms. Doreen, for telling your truth that you see every day. Again, Randy has a life sentence, and we got to be honest with it. These officers, I wonder if anything remarkable is going to change in their life. We know Randy's life has changed in a profound way. I don't know how many more times we can come and implore the city to do the right thing. I just don't know how many more times we can do it. We just believe that bias is at play here, and if Randy was a young white kid, that this would not be taking this long based on what we saw in that van. And so I don't know any other way but to speak truth to power. You all have the power. You all can do this tomorrow. There's nothing that will stop you all from doing this tomorrow. All you have to do is have the courage of your conviction to lead not just some of the city, but all the city. You all can do this. We'll take your questions, if you have any.
Consulted by the state's attorney on the charges?
No, not at all. Where we consulted by the state attorney about the charges, and nobody on our legal team was consulted.
That's up to them.
Yeah.
That's their.
They could have reached out to us. I was in Buffalo, New York yesterday with the black people got killed in the supermarket. The prosecutors and the state attorney did reach out and say, these are the charges that we're considering, and these are what we're bringing. This is what he wants to plead to. They could have did that for They could have did that for Randy's family. I'm sorry, Attorney General.
It's not unusual for the state's attorney to consult with the legal team of the victim. That's just not unusual. We see it happen all the time, all over the country, to figure out what charges should be brought, what charges they can actually make at trial. So that's not unusual. It didn't happen in this case. They certainly didn't reach out to me, and I don't know about anybody else on the legal team, but they haven't reached out. And you must understand that the prosecutors in the state of Connecticut, they control the charges. They're the most powerful individuals in the criminal justice system, the prosecutors in this state. They're very, very powerful. Even though, if as RJ and I had discussed, the judge will ultimately decide if, in fact, they apply for the AR program. And here's the thing, and this is assuming they've never been charged or ever used that program before, because that program is for first-time offenders. So we don't know these officers' criminal history or their background, and if they have used the program before, they cannot use that program again.
And I know Attorney Jefferson and Attorney O'Donnell works with prosecutors on a daily basis, so they know that prosecutors can reach out if they wanted to reach out.
Absolutely.
Mr. Crump, are there any active settlement talks going on with the city or any of the other defendants in the civil case?
All I know is we take the city at their word that they're trying to do right by Randy, but the charges were a slap in the face to Randy's family. The answers to our lawsuit was a slap in the face to us.
Have there been any settlement talks? As the mayor insists that he wants to settle the case with you?
Our local co-counsel say no, not at all.
Are you willing to settle the case, or do you want it to go to trial?
We will listen objectively to anything the city says on Randy's behalf. But what we won't do is let them devalue him any further. I mean, he has real injuries. We ain't talking about any, play injuries. These are devastating injuries that nobody would trade. Nobody would trade. I mean, if we said we would give you $60 million, you just got to be paralyzed from your chest down for the rest of your life and have somebody feed you and help you use the bathroom and turn you so you don't get bed sores and make sure you don't get pneumonia every week so you don't die. Nobody would take that deal. And so we ain't asking for charity, we asking for justice. Just justice. Equal justice. I hope that answered your question, sir.
What charges would you like to see against the police officers?
The same charges that Michael Jefferson would have gotten had he did to Randy what those officers did. What LaToya said, if her child broke their neck and she just neglected them and caused their injuries to be exacerbated. What was it, Mike? Assault in the first degree? A felony?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can't convince anybody up here that they wouldn't have been charged with a felony had they did what those officers did. Jack, you and Mike are the criminal experts. Yeah. Any other questions?
Just one more, sorry. How many medical bills has the family racked up so far?
Millions so far, millions. And, just so the record's clear, the reason why this resolution of this case is so critical at an early stage is because of the care that Randy needs. The life care expert that flew in last week to do an evaluation on Randy assesses that it's going to be about $20 million just to care, just to get Randy the care that he needs for the rest of his life. That's just for that. So time is of the essence here, and if Randy doesn't get the care, the doctors have concluded that his condition will continue to deteriorate.
How are you paying for it so far? Is the city helped at all?
No, so it's bills are racking up, Social Security, what poor people have to deal with every day. And you talk about care. I really pray they care about Randy because, and it's hard for me to say this because I know Randy is listening, but if he doesn't get quality care, his life expectancy is compromised. It is severely compromised. I've represented many quadriplegics, and if they don't get care, everybody knows what happens. Everybody knows. Any other questions? If they're not, it's Christmas. As Ms. Doreen said, continue to pray. While you're enjoying your families, say a little prayer for Randy Cox and Ms. Doreen, probably sitting in the hospital by themselves on Christmas Day, praying for a miracle. I pray the mayor prays for Randy on Christmas too. And I pray the city leaders act. You all have the power. As Dr. King said, justice delayed is justice denied. And in Randy's case, never have that been more of a reality. Justice delayed is justice denied. Thank you.